Antonio Conte has been very open about the need to strengthen. He has talked about not being able to work magic with what he has kind of along those sorts of lines with Tottenham. And a really interesting story that came out yesterday about a non-league winger, Oliver Tanner. He plies his trade for Lewis. And this is what Lewis FC said yesterday. They like to confirm that whilst the club and a Premier League club, as we now know it's Tottenham, agreed a deal in principle for the transfer of Oliver Tanner, Ollie and the Premier League club were not able to agree personal terms, and he remains a Lewis FC player. Now, I find this fascinating because this is Oliver Tanner, who is a winger. They have been looking to bring in a left-sided winger. Luis Diaz was one of those. As we pointed out, though, he has moved on. So they've turned their attentions, it seems, to a non-league player, perhaps with a lot of potential, someone they thought they could nurture. And yet personal terms could not be agreed. What do you make of that, Cass?
I cannot. From both sides, by the way. It's not just Tottenham, how they've not put a deal together that would bring the lad there that's, decent. And from his perspective, are you serious? You're turning down, or whoever's looking after him, I'm sure there's somebody looking after him, you're turning down the opportunity to go to Tottenham from Lewis. Now, even if they offer him peanuts, okay, even if they offer him a small or poor deal, if he does anything at the football club of any note, there'll be fine a contract in front of him. That'll be well worth his while. So I don't get that. Why would you? If I put myself as a 19-year-old kid, and I went as a 19 to Gillingham, I wasn't really even bothered how much I was going to get paid. I was like, well, I've got an opportunity, and this is in the third division, the old third division, which is League One now. Now, if you were given the opportunity at 19 to go to Spurs, what does it matter what you're getting paid? They're not going to give you a contract that's going to be on first team wages, but what you'll do, you'll have a deal, I'm sure. I'm sure Tottenham have put something that would entice him to come. So I don't get what he thinks he's worth. Now, you could say, well, he's got a big character and he thinks he's worth a lot more. Well, if you have, go and show it. And I'm telling you, any young player, I'll say the same thing. You play well enough, clubs will be throwing money at you. They do.
Well, I mean, in some ways, maybe we need to give Oliver Tanner some credit, because if he's not happy with what Tottenham offered him, why should he just accept it? I know what you're saying, that, listen, he could come in, do a really good job, then get an improved contract. But if he already thinks, no, I'm better than what you're offering, and actually it's rumoured that other Premier League clubs are looking at him as well.
Okay, but that's another discussion. But I'm pretty sure on that. Tottenham are not going to offer him something that isn't, fair. They're just not going to do that. If they want a young kid, look, he might be miles away. I'm sure he's miles away from the first team, okay, or even a chance. He might even do really well to get. He's a player they've looked at and think something could happen along the way. Look, he could have other choices, and there might be clubs offering but prepared to give him a better contract. I get that, but even so, I'm not sure they'll be bigger than Tottenham. I'm really not convinced by that. There might be other clubs that might offer a bit more money, but not the stature of Tottenham Football Club. So it's a really weird one. I don't quite get it, because there are so many young players, and this is nothing against him. There's so many young players in the game who want contracts like they've been a pro for 2-3 years and done really, really well. They're giving money to these younger players when really they haven't achieved anything. You'll get money. It'll come if you achieve and do the things that you're meant to do as a footballer, go up the ladder and do really well. So I don't quite get, and I might be wrong because I don't know the full story, because what you've just said to me there is quite vague, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
There's no definite there.
No, and even the statement put out by Lewis was an unnamed Premier League club, but it's emerged since in reports that it is Tottenham that were looking at him. But as I also mentioned, other clubs are keeping an eye on him and that situation. But for now, he remains a Lewis FC player. He could still move in. Who knows? They could go back to Tottenham, and then there could be another negotiation on the table, and he may still end up going there. Who knows?